If you were doing good and then you started to slack off all of a sudden, if you were on point, doing all the right habits, having the right routine, and then you just kind of got distracted, started doing things that you weren't supposed to do, there's a very high chance that you started focusing on what you didn't have, focusing on what you couldn't produce, focusing on what you're not capable of instead of continuing to grow. You see, the moment that we start thinking about something that we want or a result that we're trying to create in our life, and we get this feeling that we can't do it, and we start thinking about that we can't do it, it immediately diminishes and destroys our motivation, our momentum. Basically, you're ruining all that hard work just through one single thought. It's really, really dangerous. It's like a cancer. It spreads and it consumes you, and before you know it, you're laying there in bed just watching Netflix again and eating chips. I don't know. Whatever you consider not productive. So in order for you to get back on track, in order for you to regain your momentum and your motivation and your passion and your spark for life, you have to look at what you can do right now. All too often, we are so focused on what we're not good at, on what we can't do, on the opportunities that aren't in front of us. We're thinking about 10 years from now, I want to do this, or next month, I really want to accomplish this goal. And the more you're thinking about how you want to, the less likely you actually will. That's the secret right there. Most people are thinking about how they want to, but probably can't. And the people that succeed and make it happen and do accomplish it are people who are focusing on what they can do right now. So instead of blaming yourself and getting angry at yourself, accept that you've fallen off. And that's all right. You probably got into a negative thought loop and it just dragged you right down. That's okay. You're not a bad person because of that. See, a lot of people, they think that if you do something stupid, then you are stupid. But you gotta make a clear distinguishment here. You gotta actually realize that, hey, there's a difference between me being a bad person and doing something bad. I'm sure you've done a few things in your life that you're not proud of. I sure have in the past. And that doesn't make you into a bad person. That doesn't make me into a bad person. In fact, I'm a great person. I serve people, I help people, and I'm sure that you are very good and have great intentions. So maybe the slacking off isn't the reason that you aren't a good person. Maybe this is just something that you do every once in a while, and maybe that's okay. If you can accept that and say, hey, you know what? I did do that. I did fall off, but what can I do now? It's going to start creating that momentum again, and you will get back on track. But the longer you dwell on it, the longer you blame yourself for it, and you're angry at yourself, the longer you're just going to have to stay miserable. One time I remember I was recording a video, and I came here and I talked, and it was about 10 minutes long or something, and I was like, wow, that was the best video ever. And then I go to the back of the camera and I look, and I'm about to turn off the recording, and I realize that I never pressed record. Now this was a while ago, and I remember I wasn't that in control of my emotions, and I didn't feel like I could really handle myself. So the first thing that happened was I got really angry. I got frustrated. I was like, God, you're so stupid. You're so dumb. Why didn't you press record? And I sat there and, I was upset with myself, and I screamed a little bit at myself, and I thought, wow, well, this sucks. I guess I'll just give up. But, that day, what ended up happening was, in the end, I went back and recorded anyway. Now, the same thing happened to me yesterday, this same event. But this time, what I did instead was, I was like, oh, okay, I forgot to press record. And I looked at it and I thought, well, no point getting upset. I mean, it's not going to take me any closer to what I was trying to achieve anyway. So I just pressed record again and did a new video. That was it. That was it. It doesn't have to be that hard. It doesn't have to be that difficult. It doesn't have to become that annoying. You choose how you react, you choose how you respond, and that's what determines whether or not you get back on track after slacking. You see, most people, they'll actually start slacking off with their good habits, and they'll stay in it for months at a time. They'll start eating all this bad food again, they'll start watching all this stuff that they shouldn't be watching, maybe going back to their old friends that they shouldn't be hanging around, whatever your bad habits are. And when you're slacking, the thing is, you think you should be doing good, but you don't want to. It's because you have this emotional lock. you know that if you perform, yes, it's going to be rewarding. If you do the right thing, you know that you will kind of feel good. But you also know that it's temporary, and if you get into a bad feedback loop in your head again, and you start having negative thoughts, then you'll be stuck in the same situation. So what's the point? Well, the point is you have to accept and know that this is a cycle. You're not always going to be perfectly on point, doing all the things that you should be doing. That's all right. You're a human being. That's the point. Let's see how much you can do. Let's see what your potential is. Let's try to stretch and push a little bit further each time. And that's how you grow. Not by forcing yourself, not by never having some time off. It's okay. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to actually try your best, do your best. And that will always be enough. Because what else can you do? If you slacked off, you were burning out, you were getting tired of doing all the right things, you needed a break. That's okay. Don't use that as an excuse to just keep falling off. But at the same time, if that's not allowed, it almost becomes pointless to strive and succeed. Because your brain goes, well, I'm achieving all of this. I'm doing all the right studying. I'm doing all the right work. I'm doing all the right workouts. But yet, there's no reward. Remember that. You will eventually run out. Where's the reward? Where's the relaxation? Where's the recreation? You gotta chill out too. But it comes at the end of putting in the work. See, when you start slacking off, you're actually creating a really bad cycle for yourself. Because what you're doing is you're teaching yourself that just doing nothing is what gives you a reward. You're putting that food into your body. You're doing things that release massive levels of dopamine usually. And you're doing nothing to earn it. And that is really difficult to process for your brain, because that means that you could be doing nothing and getting all this reward and all this stimulation. Meanwhile, you could work really hard at your habits and never get anything. So be sure to reward yourself. Now that you accept and get back on the horse, right? Be sure that you reward the horse. Give it a carrot every once in a while. That would be great. If you could just reward yourself as you're doing the work, chances are you won't be slacking off ever.